In rural America, we have this saying, and I'm sure that you use it in other parts of the country as well. But we've got this saying that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I started thinking about this because the minute that the Justice Department and the president and all of his minions in government started saying that there was no there in regard to the Epstein report, every creator on social media has a take on it. So I don't want to just do another Epstein video because millions of people have done it ad nauseum. We all know where everybody stands. But I do want to build on this concept that we have in rural America, this way of thinking that we've got where we say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And it takes many other iterations. Maybe you've heard it said, the boy that cried wolf, or the girl that cried wolf. Or, maybe you've heard it said, tell me a lie once, shame on you, tell me a lie twice. If I believe it, shame on me. It takes many different iterations, right? But I want you to think about the terminology now that the president's using in regard to making the argument that there is no Jeffrey Epstein list, that it's just not there, that the thing never existed. He's going back to his old tried and favorite hoax. He's already used it multiple times, that it's the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, that the entire thing was made up by Democrats. You've even seen his surrogates out on television, like Bill O'Reilly, making the argument that prosecutions took place when they didn't take place, that unalivings took place when they didn't take place. It's like they're using this same old strategy of the hoax, muddying the water, confusing the situation to try to make the argument and to transition people who are on the MAGA side not to believe what they've believed for the last 10 years. And you got to understand, for those of you that don't know, you need to read about this, because this conspiracy theory that there is I want to be careful how I word this, that there is a ring of powerful people out there in Hollywood and in the Democratic Party that feed off the energy of young individuals, if you know what I mean. This conspiracy theory is deep in the Republican Party, but even deeper in MAGA. I can tell you that in my little hometown that I grew up in, back during COVID, we had multiple town square demonstrations under the guise of protect our children that were nothing more than just, QAnon wrapped up in a nice pretty bow. This conspiracy theory goes deep into the MAGA movement. And the Trump organization, President Trump himself as a candidate and as the president in his previous term, and now this time around, his minions, his surrogates, they have pushed this conspiracy theory hard, okay? They have made hay while the sun shines off this conspiracy theory. It has driven an entire political movement in this country. The QAnon conspiracy theory, the conspiracy theories around Jeffrey Epstein. Now, what's happening? He's using the term hoax. Now, in a normal political situation or in a normal life situation, what would I be asking you to do? Well, I'm going to ask you to do it now. If the go-to, when the president, if you believe this list exists and you believe that this list is being hidden by the Justice Department, by the president, and perhaps you believe that maybe he's on it, maybe you're coming around to the way of thinking that he's on this list and that's why they're not releasing it, I want you to pay close attention to the terminology of the word hoax. Because the argument has been made all along that the president uses the terminology hoax when something is true and he doesn't have the ability to effectively counteract it with the facts, okay? When there's not a factual summation that he can put together to walk people through a series of events or through a political stance that he's taking to prove that something isn't factually true, he just brushes it off with this terminology, the hoax. He calls it a hoax. So I'm just going to ask you one simple question that I hope anybody that supports this president can begin walking themselves through this process intellectually. Is that if he's calling the Jeffrey Epstein event, everything that happened, if he's calling that a hoax, and you believe in your heart of hearts that it's real, that it's true, then what other thing has he labeled a hoax could he be lying to you about as well? The Russia hoax, the series of sexual abuses that he committed and that he was found guilty for, those hoaxes. What other quote unquote hoaxes, he's using that terminology, not me, could he be lying to you about? Because if we were talking about buying and selling cattle, if we were talking about somebody that was telling you about something that was happening on your farm or ranch or in your small town, if you caught them in a lie just one time, you would begin to question the other things that they had been telling you. But for some reason with him, we set that frame of mind aside. We set that normal logical approach that we take aside, and we give him the benefit of the doubt in rural America. I want you to stop doing that. I want you to start asking yourself the question, if he's labeling this a hoax, if he's claiming that this is a lie and he's calling it a hoax, and you know in your heart of hearts that it's true, it's not a hoax, it's not a lie, then what else has he called a hoax that he could be lying about? Think about it. Contemplate it. Ask yourself that question and see what conclusions you come to.